I've made a chess discovery of archaeological importance recently. I was traveling on a plane, and of course, to pass the time, I thought that I would check that little computer that they have in the back now. I'm not really used to such fancy international flights, but well, it's the only way. And I found that there was a rather primitive chess AI that was in the game. Let me show you the title screen. It was called Just a Generic Game of Chess. This is what the screen looks like here. I don't know if my mouse is getting picked up. But yeah, all I can say is it's good old-fashioned chess, just like the old NES game football. Remember that? Anyway, let's go ahead and go back now. So the first game I was playing as white, learning that I could just record it in game on my phone. I went ahead and did that. I started with the classic E4 opening, pretty regular stuff. Just actually very fundamental games, some of the earliest things that you learn. So I'm not sure if there's an opening database on this, or if that's just what the games were evaluated as. But I go ahead and break in the center. Everything seems okay up until, well, I push. And the computer seems to be destructing at move 7. Now, why is this a mistake? Well, after you go ahead and take, you get to be a pawn up, and actually there's a fork going on here. Now, of course, the computer is saying, oh, just go and defend it, but, well, it's still the same situation, isn't it? Kind of, but I guess you could do danger levels here and there, and, it's not a very good situation to be in, but I don't know. I still like White's position better. Anyway, let's go back to the actual game. We go ahead and trade here, and I decide something very strange happened here. I'm not really sure. It just missed this one move attack. It thought, oh, I'm making an attack on the pawn, and I guess I do it. But I don't know. This was the third highest difficulty setting. Well, actually, it's the highest difficulty setting, but it's only 3 stars. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you to see what we're dealing with. Should be number 2 there, right? Yeah. So I went and clicked on the third level 3 difficulty right there. And this is the kind of performance that we're getting here, just to give you an idea. So, of course, I take the hanging rook, and it looks like we're plus 11 on move 10. Not a great showing from the AI that we have here. I decide to go on to the attack. And it actually starts looking in our favor now. So I, throw that out there. At this point, I'm kind of interested in seeing what sort of things it can see. And I go ahead and push the rook out. Now, this can be countered. So, for example, if you move the queen down in here, and the king is forced to move, you can go ahead and do a discovered attack on the queen, and then the rook can come by, and of course we do get the rook. I think that, well, then of course the black can get here and all of that. And it's relatively equal. As far as I can see. Yeah. But, of course, our genius AI here did not end up doing that. Instead, what ended up happening here? Queen takes d1, and I can take back, but it just took the bishop. It was a very greedy algorithm that we have here. Something that I found to be very unusual. But just in case, I went ahead and, stopped that attack from happening, and tried to go on the attack a little bit more. Take the free pawn. Now, of course, if they go for the discovered attack, then it doesn't matter, because number 1 is defended, but also we can just take the other rook. Yeah. Just kind of hunted down, and, well, frankly, I'm not really sure what kind of process goes into it. It just walked directly into the mate. But I don't suppose there was very much you could do after rolling the mate in 3. Now, what's something that's very interesting about this is that it's actually a very deterministic algorithm. It doesn't have any random chance or anything. If you play this seed of moves at that difficulty level, it will always play those moves. Let me just go ahead and pull up the proof of this game. I'll move 3. You can see that the position does. I did indeed play this on the computer, just in case you were doubting that. And you see, there's the bishop on the b6 square. No, b5. Still learning those coordinates, but I'm getting there. And then that would be d7 is where we made it on, right? Yeah. I'm not very fond of the 3D chess shape. I find it a bit more difficult to actually tell which one is which. I don't know, something about a physical board, there's depth or something to it. I don't know. Making a 3D chess game isn't exactly easy, especially, I'm sure it was made in the 90s or something, maybe the early 2000s. That's my guess. Anyway, just to get a full breadth of the picture, I went ahead and did a game of black as well. Now, let me go ahead and pull that one up. I can go back to it, right? Bookmark. Here we go. Of course, I did my classic England gambit because I don't want to learn the Queen's Pawn theory. And we're in black already, so I'll go ahead and go for the England gambit. Go straight for the queen out because I have a feeling that we can reckon with just the queen. And indeed, we equalize the pawns, and we're already a pawn up now. Very interesting defense. I decided to try to exploit that. I didn't really see the knight coming here. I guess I kind of have that tendency. And I'm not really sure how I would get out of that. Maybe going all the way back, perhaps? I don't know. That would probably be behind me for the situation. But it ended up happening. Yeah, go straight for the trade because I figure we just get a nice in there. Wait a second, what's going on here? That's not what happened. Okay, oh, messing with the interface a little bit. Okay, yes, yeah, the knight came down, and I thought that I could try to do a little double attack, but of course he can go right back. It can see that far into the future, which is interesting. But okay, go back all the way, and that is when it started to fall apart. I can still just take the old bishop, and you know, get an old pawn at the end. So it looks like we're just straight up, and this is more with the blocking. I understand the blocking at least, but I don't know. I go ahead and go for an attack on the queen and for development, possibly even a mate if it ends up going away. But this is a very perplexing move. I guess it saw a weakness on the C file. It thought it could take that, but it very much does not go to the threat that very active threat because if then you can get the knight up, and at that point the king is toast. But just in case, I'm going to go ahead and develop some more pieces. And if it gets greedy, then we can always bring the rook in. And that's what ended up happening. It just did a very, very perplexing move. It didn't have to be made here. You see, it could have brought the queen back, perhaps. The rook also totally functions. Maybe, this bishop is going to be toast eventually. There are ways to continue this game, but it just completely threw it away. This is, again, the highest level setting in it. And it just very, very telegraphed, Go ahead and make one little over, next one moves. I don't know. I feel like a beginner player would probably be able to see this, and actually, it may not be bad to, pass the time, but it may be better to try doing the multiplayer human against it. As far as generic chess is concerned, let me go ahead and pull up the number 4 here. Yep, as you can see, that was the game that we had. There was the rook, doubled with the queen. Again on the d7 square. Oh, wait, no, a second. This would be d2 because we're black. Right. Wait a minute. I'll think about that later. I'll do that off screen, of course. I know that my first video had some coordinates trending in there, but no one needs to see that stuff. Okay. Well, I don't know. I thought that was something that was kind of interesting because it really makes me what kind of security vulnerabilities are actually on those little computer sets that they have. I figure that it's not like there's going to be any war driving going on at 30,000 feet, but I don't know. I know that some security components, like if you have a kiosk or something, you can, if you don't lock down like a browser or something really well, it doesn't matter. You can probably open up a terminal in that. I'm no security professional, but yeah, I don't know. Something strikes me as like, oh, gotta watch out there. Anyway, back to the chess. How about we do, oh, goodness gracious, a little puzzle. Just one. How about the puzzle of the day, in fact? Go to the start. Here we go. Puzzle of the day. Okay, so it looks like we're playing as black here, right? Now, we have a king. It looks like there's going to be some kind of king mate situation. We have three pieces kind of in the sphere. But how are we going to take advantage of that? You see, this bishop, d-file, is trying to protect everything that's going on here. Number one, we can't really check the king with the knight. That's interesting. Even if we try to check the king here, I mean, number one, king could go down, and there's not really much stopping there. And number two, the bishop can go back. So, what exactly is stopping us there? Very unclear. I don't think that... We also have to worry, but we can't move this pawn on the f-file, because, well, then we would have problems with our g-pawn, and especially if we try to sacrifice our rook, you know, those two moves do not work well together. Anything like that. Although I guess we could, you know, go back here or something, but, well, whatever. How would we even go for the mate? That's my question. What would that even be like? Because we do have a couple of moves before we start getting all rickety. But let's just take a look at the evaluation, or the material situation going on here. We have a rook and a rook, knight and knight, and we have an extra couple pawns, but I guess that's the same right there. We're down, basically. So we have to. We can't really do any sacrifices to try to get some material, I don't think. But how are we going to get out of this? I'm thinking, because the king is surprisingly cozy right over there in the corner. He can't move, but that well, isn't such a problem. Let's say that we move this bishop, or this knight, down onto the f3, right? The idea being that we can then move the rook up, and that would be checkmate. So let's say that we move this knight down, right? And we try to go for here. What does white do? How would white stop this? Well, one thing could be to get the queen up. That would be something. But then we would get the queen, and that would also defend the rook. So that would be good for us. Is there any other way to stop that mate from happening? Perhaps moving here, diagonally. Okay, so let's say we go here, then the queen comes, attacks our knight, and it's not under attack. At this point, we go up, that comes in, and then the other knight, the other rook comes in, and that would still be mate. Yeah, it looks like it would still be mate, right? So, knight comes down, queen goes up, rook goes up, queen comes in, other rook goes in here, protected by it. It goes boom, 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 and the knight here. Yeah, that would be checkmate with our last two remaining pieces on the board. Is there some other way that they could take advantage of this? There's no checks, no immediate checks, nothing like that. Doesn't really send me what are you going to do? You can try to go for the fork. You know, there's no stopping. I just think it's a plain good move. Okay, good. I'm glad that the evaluation is, well, the calculation is going like expected. Now, let's just continue that a couple more steps down the line. So if I go for the check, you can't step out of it, can't step out of it, can't take it. Basically, the only move is to take, and then we go up, right? There's no kind of fancy schmancy stuff you can do. Just go for the sacrifice, and that's game over. Yes, and yes. Excellent. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give that a thumbs up and call it a day, because that is a positive in my book. Well, happy with that.